Hello and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be continuing our House prediction series for the 2022 midterm elections. This time we'll be focusing on the Mid-Atlantic region. So we'll be covering the states of New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Delaware, and Maryland. So this is probably going to be, along with New England, probably one of the shorter House predictions. Although then again, my home state of New York's in here, so maybe I'll probably elaborate on some of these districts since I know a bit more about these races. But ultimately, we now have the Republicans at 171 seats to the Democrats 135. So we'll be taking a look at all of these districts in depth. But first, if you're not subscribed to the channel and you enjoy election prediction content and analysis, please consider subscribing down below and liking this video. So let's get straight into it. So first, we'll start off with the state of New York. We'll focus on the Long Island region where I'm from. And we'll start off with New York's 1st congressional district. So the Democratic gerrymander was thrown out originally. If we go back to it, New York was in a much different position than it is now. You had, this is not the right gerrymander, or map rather, I should say. You had a much different map proposed by the New York State Democrats. Originally, New York's 1st congressional district was going to be a D+6 district. I think it actually was a Biden +10. So that would have been very hard for Republicans to win, even in a year like 2022. And you had really all the Republican voters, or the bulk of Republican support, coalesced and condensed into New York's 2nd district. And then the rest of Long Island would have been blue. Now, with the current map, we don't really have that. We have 2 likely Republican districts, and R+5. New York's 1st congressional district basically voted in line with Suffolk County. I think it voted in favor of Trump by literally a few hundred votes. I definitely think this is an open seat now. Lee Zeldin, the incumbent, is actually running for governor, so he's not going to be running for his seat again. So I think probably you're going to see Republicans win this by a likely margin. I would say about, given the year, probably about 6 or 7 points, given that there's no incumbent. But in future elections, the district could trend a bit redder with an incumbent occupying the seat. Moving on down south to Andrew Garbarino's district. This district is a little bit redder. The South Shore in particular is a traditional Republican stronghold on Long Island. It encompasses a number of traditionally Republican towns. Massapequa, I think, is in here. A lot of strong Republican towns. Obviously, it's only R+6, so it's not a crazy Republican advantage. But like New York's 1st, I think I'm going to put it in the likely margin. I think Garbarino will probably end up winning this race by about 10 points. I think he'll do better since he is an incumbent, and whoever runs in Zeldin's former seat, we don't really know who the nominee is going to be for that. I think they'll probably win by about 6 as of right now. Moving on over to Tom Suozzi's former district. That's another person who is not running for re-election. He's running for governor. He was a Democrat. He was first elected in 2016. He's retiring to run for governor. This is a D+8 district. This really could go either way. Biden won this district by, like I said, 8 points. This is tricky to categorize. I think as of right now, I'm going to play it safe. I'm going to give the Democrats a slight advantage in this district. Northern Nassau County, you have a lot of red areas, but then you also encompass, I think this is Hempstead down here, which is a strongly blue region. So I think as of right now, I'm going to play it safe and give the Democrats the 3rd district. There is no incumbent, though, so this prediction is subject to change, but I really want to see who the nominees in this district are before I make a final verdict on it. And then moving on down to Kathleen Rice's former district. She's also not running again. This is a D+10 district, though, so I think whoever the nominee is probably going to win this seat by a lean margin. I think it'll probably be by 5 or so. So I don't really think that's going to be as competitive, but I think the 3rd is going to be very competitive. But I still give the Democrats a slight edge in that. Moving on up to New York's 17th congressional district, Sean Patrick Maloney, I think, is running in this district. Formerly in the old map, I believe he was running in the 18th. Now he's running in the 17th, and I think Mondaire Jones is also running in this district. So the 17th, yeah, he's running against Mondaire Jones in the primary. It really depends on the nominee. Sean Patrick Maloney will be incredibly hard to beat for Republicans. He's the chair of the DCCC. He has a lot of big money behind him. He's a big name in New York politics, and he wins all of his elections by a pretty wide margin. I mean, his district was about even with the national environment, and he won by 12 points back in 2020. So as of right now, I'm going to give the Democrats an advantage in this race. I'm going to put it as lean like I did with these other ones. But again, this is subject to change. And again, if Mondaire Jones does win the primary, he's much more progressive. I think the district would be more of a toss-up then. Moving on up to New York's 18th congressional district, I feel like this will be a flip for the Republicans, probably by a lean margin. Upstate did trend considerably to the left in 2020, but I think it will snap back in 2020 pretty strongly, especially given the midterm environment and the fact that upstate is a very rural area. So I think you're going to see a flip here. Also, we have the 19th district, which is Antonio Delgado's former district. He is now the lieutenant governor after the former lieutenant governor, Brian Benjamin, resigned over corruption. I think he's actually in jail or he's been indicted on corruption. So now you have Mark Molinaro, who's the former gubernatorial nominee from 2018, running in this seat for the Republicans against a Democratic challenger. Now, that special election is actually set to occur this summer, but I think it's likely that Mark Molinaro wins. He's a big name. His county, Dutchess County, is not in this district, or if it is, it's a very small portion of it. I don't think Dutchess County is in his district, but he's very popular upstate, and he did overperform upstate in the governor's election. Downstate is really where he struggled. So I don't think Mark Molinaro will have a problem winning the seat, and honestly, I'm going to make a bold prediction. I think he'll win it by a decent margin. He's a pro-choice Republican, or at least when he ran for governor, he said he really wasn't going to change the state's abortion laws. I don't know if he's going to run like that as a congressional Republican, but he's a very popular Republican upstate, and I think he will win by about 7 to 8 in this district in the general. Finally, we go up to John Katko's former district. He is not running anymore. He's in a D+2 district. If we go here to I don't know if they have this district on here. They might. Is this the 18th? The 22nd. The 22nd voted for Joe Biden by 7.6%. So I think it's likely that this district will stay in Republican hands. I think it'll be a lot closer. I'm going to put it as a tilt. I think it's going to be very close, but I wouldn't be surprised in a year like 2024 or a regular general election that perhaps it flips to the Democrats. Because Katko was a pretty moderate Republican. I mean, he won Onondaga County, which is home to Syracuse. And keep in mind, this was a county that Joe Biden won with 58% of the vote. He won this county by exactly 20 points. And in the House election, John Katko actually narrowly won this county. So that goes to show you how electable Katko is in this upstate district. So that currently puts Republicans at 176 seats, Democrats at 138. Next, we'll move down to New Jersey. The Democrats did an exceptional job gerrymandering this state. So I think ultimately you're really only going to see one flip, and I think that's going to be New Jersey's 7th congressional district. I think that's going to be a narrow flip to the Republicans. But the rest of these districts, I think, are going to hold. And of course, we forgot to categorize Jeff Van Drews, but I think he'll probably win his district by about 10, maybe even 11 points. So New Jersey, really only one flip for the Republicans. This map was drawn exceptionally well to favor the Democrats, and I think it's going to hold strong for them throughout the cycle, throughout the next 10 years. That brings us now to the state of Pennsylvania. First, right off the bat, we're going to categorize Pennsylvania's 8th congressional district. This is home to, here we go, incumbent Democratic Representative Matt Cartwright. Trump won this district, I believe, by about 2 or 3 points. Maybe even 4. It might have been 4 points. Let's check here, actually. Yeah, Trump won it by about 3 percentage points. Cartwright barely won his re-election back in 2020. He only won it by about 3, funny enough. So given that the midterm environment is expected to be an R+4 or 5 even, I think this is certainly going to be a flip. But I think it's going to be only a lean margin because Cartwright is shown to do better in these down ballot races. So I think, even though Trump carried the district, Cartwright was still able to win by about the same margin that Trump did. So nearly a 6-point swing in that race. But I still think ultimately he's going to lose. I think northeastern Pennsylvania will have trended too far away from the Democrats. Moving on down, we have Susan Wild's district. I think this is going to be a pretty easy race to categorize. She's now in an R+4 district. Previously, she was in an even partisan district, and even then, she underperformed that rating. If we go back to 2020, she only won her race I think by about the same margin as Cartwright. Yeah, she overperformed Cartwright just a tad bit. But I think definitely in this case, this is going to be a flip for the GOP, an easy one. Fitzpatrick district, I just wanted to talk about it because Fitzpatrick is extremely electable in a district that honestly leans Democrat. It voted for Biden. It voted for Hillary Clinton. And he wins by a safe margin in 2020. So there's no doubt in my mind that he's probably going to overperform that result in 2022. Very easy. He's a much more moderate Republican, but he's so electable you really can't get rid of him because you're just giving up a free seat in Congress. Moving on down to Pennsylvania 6th. This is a D+9. It really does depend how Chester County votes because Chester County really is the heart of this district. Honestly, I'm going to put it as a likely. But when I say likely, I think 10 or 11 points. I think you're going to see a swing back toward the Republicans in Chester County, but it's only going to get them within 10 of winning this district as of right now. Again, if the Republicans are running a strong challenger, with various other factors, maybe I'll change the rating. Or if the Democrats are doing exceptionally well in this district, I'll move it to safe. But I think as of right now, probably a 10-point margin of victory for the Democrats here. Finally, that brings us to Connor Lamb's district. Connor Lamb's new district is a district that voted for Biden by about 6 points. It's a very winnable district. I think as of right now, with Connor Lamb out, and it's technically an open seat, I give the Republicans a narrow edge in this district. I'll probably put it as tilt for now, since it is slightly to the left of the nation. But again, a district that votes +6 for Biden, and then if the midterm environment is +6 for Republicans, it's very likely to go to Republicans by about 2 to 3, maybe even 4 points. But as of right now, I'm probably going to put it in the tilt category for them. Finally, that brings us to the state of Maryland, where we only have one real competitive seat, and that is the 6th congressional district, where you have David Trone, which is interesting because this was a district that voted for Joe Biden by exactly 10 points. Yet, for some reason, the district is rated as R+1, which, again, just goes to show you these ratings take a number of things into consideration. And, I mean, if they took the governor's results into consideration, I don't really think that's a fair categorization because the governor's result really was the exception and not the rule. But this is going to be tricky, actually, to categorize. It really depends how Trone runs his campaign, but this is a D+10 district. Honestly, if there's high turnout in the panhandle of Maryland, I think it flips. But it really depends. If you have high turnout in Montgomery County and these other bluer areas, Frederick, you could see a flip there as well. I think Trone is running for re-election. I think as of right now, I'm probably going to give this a slight edge to the Democrats. We'll put it as lean for now. Trone 2 to 3. This could definitely change, though. I'm not really confident in this prediction, but I think as of right now, just given that this is a D+10 district, I need to see more in order to flip this district to Republicans. So anyway, that currently puts our map at 182 rather, for the Republicans and 141 seats for the Democrats. We'll probably be covering the Midwest next, probably on Saturday, so stay tuned for that. Anyway, guys, thank you all for watching this video. Please leave a thumbs up down below if you enjoyed. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell notification so you don't miss any more videos I put out. And as always, again, thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.